Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Marvel. Today we're going to be swinging around New York City talking your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, as well as, of course, our regular news and rumors. I'm the Lonnie Lincoln of this podcast, Petter, and my sweaty-handed friend here is...
Sweaty? Is that what you just said?
is
Sweaty?
yeah, don't
Uh,
you remember from episode 2?
Sweaties? Oh, that's right.
The center.
Kinda.
We'll
Obviously,
talk
somebody was
about it
paying
later.
more attention than the other person. Fresh from taking a glob of web off his mouth. It's Greg, everybody. We're back. We're happy to be here. We're ready to talk some Spider-Man, some news, some rumors, all that fun stuff that you're aching to hear. Do you ache to hear Marvel news? I do sometimes.
Hmm.
So, all right, let's get the verbiage out of the way here. If you're looking for a way to support us, you can find us on your YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, on your computer. Let's clarify that. Search for 10 Minute Marvel. Give us a like and thumb smash that subscribe button. That always helps. Find and follow us on Facebook and Twix, hashtag 10 Minute Marvel there. And of course, you can leave a rating and review wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. Petter, back to you.
Yes. So let's kick off with a bunch of rumors. First off, well, we have four different potential casting or character rumors. Excuse me, five. So
I
many of
got
them.
five.
Yes. So first off, Kelsey Grammer returning as Beast in Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Rumor or news? I missed what we're starting
Rumor.
with. Rumor.
Yeah.
All right. Is that
Yeah.
Daniel RPK? Was that his?
I don't remember for sure on that one.
Okay. Happy to hear it. If it
Yeah.
is, if it's
Yep.
true.
It
So
they showed him in the Marvels. I feel like he needs to come back for at least a short period of time.
yeah. I mean, why he doesn't have to do anything physical, right? He just has to.
No. Yeah.
So just yeah, I like him as Beast, I think.
Hmm.
Don't change it.
Yeah. And so the next one is half from My Time to Shine Hello. I'm not sure who the second half of this one is from, but Akabe, I think that's how it be pronounced, is rumored to be the villain for Black Panther 3. And that's the character that the second half of the rumor is then that Denzel, that might be the role that he is playing.
Hmm. I think I heard that one. What do you know about what is his name? Akabe?
Yeah, it's Achebe.
Okay.
So I pronounced it Akabe, but I'm not completely sure on that. But he's like very intelligent and athletic, kind of like a manipulative villain who will like mess with things politically.
Ah, I'm back.
So that that whole kind of political machinations, I think, is fairly interesting, especially if there's a power vacuum of some sort.
Very interesting.
All right.
Sorry, my connection was a little bit shaky on that one, so I tuned out, if you will.
I mean,
Uh,
I
I mean,
fully
if you're
expect
looking for
that.
something intelligent to come out of my mouth, which I know you usually are, um, it
Yeah,
wasn't going to happen in those last 10 seconds.
I can dream.
Yeah,
Uh,
just
the
insert something smart there.
the next three are all rumored castings for upcoming Marvel projects as well. These are Brandon Sklenar playing Nova. That one is a Jeff Snyder rumor, so I do put a little bit more weight behind that one.
I've not
Um,
heard of this guy. I
yeah.
I didn't get a chance to look him up either. Is it gonna be somebody
Uh,
that's obvious and he's been in a billion things and I just
no. Nope.
okay, good.
Yeah, he was in one episode of New Girl, and that's the thing that I think you'd most likely have seen him in.
I have not seen. I've seen two episodes of New Girl.
Okay. Have you
I've been
seen
told
any
I've been told it's
episodes
okay.
of Westworld?
I have.
Okay, he was in two episodes of Westworld as Henry. So,
Oh, Henry. No, I don't remember that guy either.
no, that's a candy bar or
Oh,
candy.
Henry is a candy bar. It's not too bad either. Just a lot of people pass it off as gross. It has its place. But is this we're talking like season one of Westworld?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, Either way, kind of an unknown,
Yep.
and that's cool. I'm all right with
Yeah.
that.
He's been in a number of things before. Why do I feel like I just saw something where I was like, oh, he's Dick Grayson. Oh, nope, nope, wrong person. I was looking at the second person on the list. But yeah, this guy's been in like 25 things. So not that much. The person who's been was Dick Grayson in Titans, Brenton Thwaites is rumored to be playing Cyclops, though I don't have down who um,
Oh,
that rumor's from. Also, he
okay.
played Henry in Pirates of the Caribbean.
And
So the kid um, of Elizabeth and
Blue?
Will
Okay.
he shows up very, very small part
Yeah.
in that.
And he's very small because I don't remember the kid at all, really.
Yes.
But I haven't seen the movie for a decade, at least I would
Mhm,
say though. Um, okay, so Dick Grayson
mhm,
playing Cyclops.
mhm.
I actually really like Titans, by the way. I thought it was actually really entertaining. And I did like that character.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. I kind of like
He's
that.
he's 35, so pretty young.
Okay.
Like not not old by any means for that role. So,
Yeah. Very true.
mhm. And the final casting rumor is Hunter Schafer as Mystique. Hunter Schafer was in or is in Euphoria. Beyond that, I'm not really sure.
Huh.
She's 26. She was in the most recent Hunger Games, which I don't know if anybody who saw that one. I'm sure it made money, but
Yeah. Um, I kind of like that we're getting I like that they're going with a little bit more unknowns for this. I
mhm,
think that's a good move.
yeah, kind of
So
returning to some of the original casting style.
yeah, it's it's kind of like what they did for X-Men First Class, I guess, in a
Hmm.
way.
Yeah, granted they
Take
had
give or take us some. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Then uh the first screenings of Fantastic Four First Steps have happened. People have liked it. It's very, very hush hush, obviously, on this at this point. But the rumor is the screenings for the movie with the cut how it is now, it's at 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Love it.
So I would guess they chop off another 15 minutes just to as they tighten up the editing.
Sure.
But still, just over 2 hours be great.
Yeah. I'm still like in 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's my
Yeah.
jam. But
It'd be nice to have a Marvel movie that long again. That
hmm
feels really good because Brave New World is under 2 hours, I believe.
yeah. And I feel like it's going to be one of those it doesn't really have a drag point. Everything's going to be so much eye candy.
Mm-hmm.
And tied along with what I think is going to be a pretty great story.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with that if they don't chop any off. But
Yeah, same. Uh, Peter Parker is going to be in Marvel Zombies. I don't think that's particularly big news slash rumor, but just popped up with an image of the character.
yeah, it's a type of Peter Parker, right? That was the news. It was the
Well, yes and no. Um,
they call it
the
Zombie Slayer.
Maybe, but it's also Hudson. So it's Hudson Thames voicing it, who he voices your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man
Yep.
in there as well, but he's also been the voice of Spider-Man in What If.
Hmm.
So I think it was more just like, oh, look, they brought back the same voice actor, but it's also the same voice actor that they had before because Tom Holland's way too expensive to put in a TV show.
Oh yeah, I was thinking it was more about the type, like what he's doing in, like as a
Possibly.
zombie slayer style of Spider-Man, which I think is a real character. Like that, it was brought up at some point.
It's yeah, I mean any of those zombie characters, sure. It could be that like he's not turned obviously from the image that was shown with it.
Yeah,
Zombie Hunter Spider-Man is
there we
what they
go.
said. But
Zombie Hunter. Yeah.
it looks like from the image he has Doctor Strange's cape. So it
Hmm.
could be a little bit more mystical and magical too in nature. So who
Yeah.
knows? Then On the rumor side of things, Jarvis and Friday are rumored to return for the Vision show. So, I mean, isn't Vision basically just Jarvis to some extent?
Wait, no, wasn't it Friday and Jarvis?
Yeah, I said, did I say Friday or did I say Vision and Jarvis? I said,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Friday and Jarvis.
they're no, because they're different programs, I thought.
No, but I was saying Jarvis and Vision are like Jarvis, the computer program, is what becomes Vision.
Oh, right. Yeah. The yeah, but the news, right. The news of but it's different because isn't White Vision this more of a synthetic like a it's not the same version, right?
No, not really.
It's a different like
It's
AI, you could say, I guess,
no,
inside.
no.
They
It's this
reconstructed him as, are we talking MCU here? Or are we talking like comic?
MCU
Okay. They
because
sword put them together.
Sword put them together, but it was they just put Vision back together and they used Hex powers to re-energize him. They didn't rebuild, reprogram the Vision. They just reassembled the Vision.
Okay.
So it's probably more Jarvis-like in a lot of ways than anything in the Vision.
So, but there's Friday.
Hmm.
So the news is that Friday's back as well.
Yep. Jarvis and Friday are back.
So I'm wondering if like somehow, like, how is this news? I guess I'm just kind of like a little bit
I don't know how.
stupefied how this became what
Well,
I thought.
because they're characters in the MCU. It's basically
Right.
how it became news.
And then how do they play a part? Is this something where they're going to be used to, I don't know, work together? Like, are they two different entities? I mean, they kind of are. I
They
think they
are.
are,
They
right?
clearly
Because
are.
it's two different
Yep.
programs.
Yep.
So, do they work together to find White Vision
Ultron. I
or
mean, James
Ultron?
Spader's in there. I think it's going to deal, the show is going to deal with, and White Vision is going to be struggling with the idea of, like, is he just a machine that is just parts of his programming, or is he going to be, is he his own entity? Does he have free will? Can he make a choice that would seemingly go against his programming? Or is it always just defined by his programming? And so I think with the additions of Ultron, who's again a system that was built and basically went off on its own and did its own thing, as well as then Jarvis and Friday, who obviously are very supportive systems to what Tony Stark was doing. I think that Vision is going to be looking into all of these to gain an understanding to who Vision really is. Is Vision just a machine, or is he more than that?
And my a thought just like that I had was they work together as like a team in a sense, right? Like kind of like what you're
Hmm.
saying. I guess they're gonna try and help Vision discover who he is. Or Friday gets yeah, I don't know. There's so little detail to go on, so it almost feels worthless to even speculate a little bit. For me, I don't have anything on this really. It just was an odd bit of news.
Yeah, I think I think there's probably it's weird, but it's like okay, different voice actors,
Hmm.
only really only singular because Jarvis is Paul Bettany doing that voice as well as being Vision. So it's like okay, this character Friday is going to be returning.
Was Friday
And
the
this,
one that Tony Stark put in for the Hulkbuster? That was Veronica.
yes, Veronica. Friday is kind of the AI system that he was using after Vision, Jarvis Vision separated and became their own entity.
Okay.
So we talked about that for a while, but two more rumors.
Okay.
First off, Marvel is going to be looking to cast a new actor to play Gambit.
Mm, fine.
Yeah. Well, I look at it and go like, okay, Brenton Thwaites is early 30s, Hunter Schafer is 20s, Sadie Sink, rumored is 20s. You're not going to drop in a 50-year-old Channing Tatum, or however
Yeah,
old he is. I don't think he's quite 50 yet, but I feel like we
no
looked it up.
way.
He's 44. So he's like basically dead. No.
Wait a second. I take offense to that.
That's why I said it.
I know. Yeah, it was kind of a, I don't know. I enjoyed him. I think I just
Hmm.
enjoyed what happened with him and his character and how he portrayed Gambit. So, but
Yeah.
in the end, yeah, it's okay.
Hmm.
Whatever. I think maybe I just feel bad for Channing Tatum because he just put so much effort into it, and I just have a little bit of pity.
So much effort and hope into it for years.
Yeah, yep.
And so I'm glad he got to have the opportunity. I do think from a story popularity, like the popularity level of Gambit is so high right now, both because of Channing Tatum, because Gambit's awesome, and because of X-Men 97, that I don't think you can look at it and go like, oh yeah, we want Channing Tatum to continue playing Gambit and we have 5 years of young enough Gambit.
Yeah. Can Channing Tatum really pull off that cut off t-shirt as well? That's
I
really the question.
Yeah, that is a great question. Um, then final rumor is that Captain America Brave New World is only going to have a single post-credit scene. This comes from Cryptic 4K Qual. I not a scooper I recognize, but also I'm not terribly surprised that it would only have one post-credit scene.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things. I understand that people love the post-credit scenes, and I enjoy them too, but there was a stretch of time, and I don't think it's as long as people think it was, but there was a short stretch of time where going to a Marvel movie was more about what's the post-credit scene going to be than the movie. Like, okay, we're so hyped up for the movie and we've been hyped up for it so long, but by the time it comes out, we're ready for the next thing. So I think Marvel is smartly taking a step back from consistently having that double post-credit scene, the goofy one, and the setting something up going forward. And they're just going to mix in when it is right and when it does make sense, that one for the something going forward.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing though. Like I don't think they'll take it away. I think that it's just how many they'll do.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're
Yeah,
just not going to do the double anymore
yeah,
because they used to do the double with the goofy and then set something up.
yeah. Wasn't there's a triple one in there, wasn't there at one point? I feel like
I don't
one
think so. I think it's only been a double.
devil. Hmm.
Hmm. Then we do
Deadpool? Oh, never mind.
no
Okay.
Deadpool. What
Not
Deadpool?
like the first
That's Fox. Anyways, so it's not
uh
MCU.
oh
It's not
fine.
it's not an MCU project at the point in time that it came out. Whether or not I mean it's MCU now, but yeah. All right,
Fine.
on to the news. Kraven the Hunter has ended its theatrical run. And Greg,
Oh,
did you see how much it made globally in the box office?
I know that it didn't make half of what it cost to make back.
It made slightly over a half.
Oh, well, my number is out of date then.
It made 59 million on a $110 million budget. So it made half of the budget of the film back. This does not include advertising. So
Yep.
yes, uh, like that is just pure hemorrhaging of money.
Oh, sorry, ATJ. It was a good effort there, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, it was an effort anyways.
Yeah,
Like
it
I
was. And he
I
got
believe
jacked for that movie.
hmm I when I shared this on Facebook, I was just like, and this is reason number 9,478,622 that Sony should sell Spider-Man and everything back to Disney.
Mm,
Because you're gonna lose money. What's the point in it?
yeah. Everybody sees it except for them, it seems like.
Mhm.
But well, I mean, for them to give up Spider-Man as a whole, I just I think I feel like they just won't let it go because
Yeah,
they can
it,
make money on that.
they have potential to make money on it, but oofta,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's ugly for them, and they put a good amount of effort into creating kind of this Venomverse, this Spider-Man villain universe with some good return on investment for the Venom stuff, and then a lot of things that either barely made their money back or didn't. And so, is it going to be enough for Sony to look at it and go, we can make an animated movie every 4 years and a live action movie every 4 years? Or is it just better to get a couple billion now? Probably more than a couple billion.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
Hmm.
It's hard for them to let go of that money grab, but at the same time, they're kind of pulling their name through the mud. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess figure it out, Sony, but
Yeah.
take your medicine when Craven dies on you, like it did.
Yeah, there was definitely one exec who did not. It was like, well, fans just automatically prejudge this as bad, or I don't remember precisely what he said, but it was like, clearly, my dude, you are not in touch with what's been going on, and you are just a yes man in the organization.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I understand, I haven't seen the movie, but
Hmm.
from what I understand, it's that same kind of like it doesn't fully make sense. Things aren't established as well. Characters are kind of like half there and like half created, and um, yeah, just I don't know why I can't take the effort that they put into some of the Spider-Man movies.
Well, especially like the Spider-Verse stuff,
Yeah,
because the Spider-Man movies, at least the Tom Holland ones, obviously are in conjunction with Marvel
that's true.
Studios.
Yeah. I wonder what happened if you ripped all the Marvel stuff out of there. What kind of skeleton you'd have left if
Hmm.
to tear those two entities apart a little bit and see what you'd get.
Yep.
Well, you'd get Craven. That's really what. And there you
Yep.
go.
Yes. So we have a few more pieces of news. Next would be Benedict Cumberbatch walking back his statement that he's not going to be in Doomsday.
Uh, that's awesome. I love how he just is like, well, actually,
It's like I was just told that I was going to be in it.
I got a text and I just need to walk this back a little bit.
Yeah.
Just,
It's yeah.
it was a little shameful walk, but
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Glad you did it.
It tells me that probably he's not going to have a massive role in it, and they're
Yeah,
still probably defining exactly what he's going to be doing. So,
yeah, yeah. That's probably true.
mhm. But that should begin filming fairly soon here. And then Patti LuPone, in an interview, said that Jack Schaefer isn't interested in making second seasons, aka a second season of Agatha All Along, at least from Jack Schaefer, not going to happen. In fact, Jack Schaefer turned down Marvel with the opportunity to do a WandaVision season two.
The setup at the end of Agatha All Along,
Hmm.
where they spoiler here, if you haven't seen it, you should.
Yeah.
Where
Pause, watch it all,
Yep,
and come back.
and then come back. Where Agatha and Billy walk out the door or wherever,
Hmm.
it's a good setup, but I understand
But
at
it's
the
not a
same
setup
time.
for Agatha All Along season two.
Right, as you've kind of explained before, right? And it
Hmm.
just so yeah, I I almost am like that's fine. If Jack Schaefer's not involved, I don't really want a second season of that.
Yep.
I'd rather they move the story in a direction or not they move the story with somebody else.
Yep.
Hopefully as talented as the crew that made Agatha All Along, but yeah,
Yep.
it's I wish you would, but at the same time I get it. It's almost lightning in a bottle for that one for me, just as WandaVision
Hmm.
was, as we have said many times.
Yep. Yeah, it's as I've said before, and I'll just reiterate it in case people are checking out the podcast for the first time. I've not been in favor of an Agatha All Along season two because this whole first season had this wonderful twist at the end where it was Agatha all along. It was Agatha who unintentionally created this legend of the Witch's Road and how she had walked it. Like the Witch's Road is not a real entity until Wiccan creates it, unbeknownst to himself, basically. But how can you do that in another season. How can it really be all about Agatha again? And I don't think there's a good way to do that, especially now that she's a ghost.
Yeah. Uh, I I can't I don't want to say there isn't a good way, but
It's
it'd be very difficult. But man,
mhm,
if you could and you top Agatha all along just with
mhm.
that twist and you're like, oh, the whole time you're like, okay, this is not like it was before.
Yep.
It's not Agatha. But if you were to able to squeeze that in at the end and make it all come back around, wow, I would be very impressed to make that, to make
Yeah.
that series come be again about Agatha
hmm
pulling strings. So.
hmm Final piece of news is that February 4th, F4, um, in the morning, sounds like pretty early in the morning from at least what was momentarily up on Good Morning America's kind of schedule. I believe it was 8:40 Eastern time
Mm.
at the premiere of the Fantastic Four trailer. And Greg and I have discussed this a little bit via text and off podcast. It's like this is kind of a weird thing. I think that Marvel is doing this so that well, one, so it can be on F4, Fantastic Four. It works, but it also allows them to have Tuesday through Saturday for people to talk about their trailer before any of the trailers that will drop during the Super Bowl drop.
Right. There'll be a lot of breakdowns
Yep.
that can be done on F4, and then after the Super Bowl, the breakdowns for whatever's released for that can be handled. But it,
hmm
F4 gets its spotlight early.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And they're very clear that they are pushing this, they're pushing Fantastic Four hard.
yeah, I mean, I think they've been pushing Captain America hard.
Ish. I don't think it's actually that much more than anything else they've done before.
I mean, fair. It has come up feed after feed of different, like I'm seeing it, and maybe, well,
Well,
obviously it's not fair because it's my phone, which it most likely he has searches of Marvel stuff all the time. So I've obviously got that coming at me
mhm,
automatically. But even on TV, I've seen quite a bit. If I
right.
watch, there's lots of commercials, but you're right. I don't think it's anything above or anything that I think Fantastic Four will surpass this, but I
Yes.
think they've been pushing Captain America fairly hard,
Yes.
but F4 is going to be even harder.
hmm And I will say, as compared to stuff like even Deadpool and Wolverine, but in particular things like the Marvels or Echo or
Secret
uh,
Invasion.
yeah, well, they intentionally kept that one fairly quiet. Actually, no, that might have also been during some of the strikes. And
Mhm.
so we've had more limited access to talent. And I think Marvel is smartly so putting Anthony Mackie out there, putting Joaquin Torres out there, and getting them in front of people. Putting Harrison Ford out there. Obviously, let's just put Harrison Ford in front of a bunch of people and have him try and explain anything about comics. It it shows up
Yeah.
in the news more so. So definitely, I think it feels like more because it is, but it's more because of the actors' strike versus more because it's that much more.
Mm. Do you think that Pedro Pascal is going to be showing up? Is that what the rumor is on Good Morning America?
I would think Pedro Pascal. I wouldn't be surprised if the main four show up.
Oh God, they have to do that tour junket already. That would man kick that off.
Well, I think this would be the kick it off with the first trailer. If all of them can make it, they'll get them all in the same room. And then they're not going, and I don't even know that they'll all be in the same room. They're more going to be like all brought in from a remote location on Skype or Zoom or Teams or whatever they use.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
And so I think that's what it's going to be instead of everybody be. I don't think necessarily anybody will be in studio. They'll just video chat with them.
That's right.
Um,
I'm just gonna skip the interview probably because it's gonna
mhm.
be really lame, and I'm just
I
gonna wait for
have
the.
zero interest in the interview as well.
Oh,
But yeah, that's excited. I'm real excited to see what this looks like
hmm
combined with the 2 hours and 30 minutes for this rough cut, which honestly, it could be longer because it's rumored that there's only one post-credit scene. I haven't didn't talk about that one yet because there's still so much time for them to film another post-credit scene. Like, could they film another post-credit scene while they're filming Doomsday? Absolutely. In fact, that's fairly likely. And I doubt there's any post-credit scene tied with the screener that people have watched thus far.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
So it could go slightly longer, though I expect they'll trim it down, like I said, a little bit, but then it might get padded out a little bit longer with that post-credit or post-credits scenes.
Yeah. Either way, I'm going to be anxious
Hmm.
to catch that in on Tuesday morning.
Yes. Yeah, I expect that I will have my reaction video up to it, assuming it goes onto YouTube at the same time or shortly thereafter. So, like, we're Central Time Zone, so 8 a.m. Central Time. I would expect I'll have my reaction video up by 9:15 to 9:30 at the latest.
Wow. You really have what you got that planned out, man. Nice.
Mhm. Well, got to get those clicks. It takes new rock stars longer to do it, so got to get in before new rock
Oh,
stars and real rejects and all of them and Screen Crush all get them up there.
yeah. Good point.
So let's move on to our main topic of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Non-spoiler thoughts first. First,
Uh
first two episodes.
First two episodes, um, entertaining. Love the animation. I loved. I think overall, like, if I didn't know that it's gonna ramp up, like
Hmm.
it's gonna increase in some plot and depth and character arcs, I would probably be a little bit more of like, that was
Hmm.
good, right? But I know there's more coming, so I have a little bit of bias there. Not because I've seen them, but more because of the Brandon Davis thing that I talked about last week.
Yes. Yep.
Um, so overall, I like the way it started. I like the characters. I like the changes that they made. I like the Easter eggs that are in there. It's overall just fun. It's fun and it's not a boring watch by any means. So if you like Spider-Man, it's definitely got a different take on it, and it's fun. It's fun to watch
Hmm.
what they do. So I'm excited for more.
Yep. I think I I will kind of echo most of what you said, that this is just a really fun show. It gets Peter Parker. It feels like high school, and there it's I made this comment in my video reaction and impressions on it. If people went into this expecting X-Men 97 level of drama and sexual tension and who's the real Jean Grey. That's not this show. This show is made for families, really.
Yeah.
Like, have your kids watched it?
No, they've kind of fallen off the Marvel thing, so
Hmm.
which is really sad for me, and it breaks my heart a little bit. I'm just gonna let it try and naturally come back around. So
Hmm.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna get all teary-eyed. Um, they but it
But
would be. I think they would like it, right? I think
mhm.
it's
It-
interesting and fun, and characters are there, and so
yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say, would you, and you'd feel comfortable, like your kids aren't young, but they're not.
Oh, they talk
Oh,
way worse than these characters
I know.
ever have, right? So, no, I would be totally comfortable with them watching
Yeah.
it, and I would actually encourage any kid that's 11 or older, or if you have an
Mhm.
11 or older kid, yeah, let them watch it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to necessarily sit there with them. I got a
Yeah.
10-year-old, and
I was
I
gonna
would probably
say,
let him watch,
yeah,
but
I was gonna say, I- in my head, I haven't let my kid watch it yet. He's 6. That's a little bit young for what I think it is. But I think like 9 is
mhm,
when I'd be like, yeah, he'll probably have watched other Marvel movies by then. So
right. Deadpool and Wolverine, right?
definitely, that's the one I'm going to start him on.
So let's start them out right. I watched I let my 13-year-old watch it with me and my wife, and I'm not sure if I regret that or not yet. Because you really notice how many F-bombs are in that movie.
Yep.
But no, I would say that it's a good start to the show. It's good. It is a family. It's
Hmm.
definitely watch it for those that age and up. I was trying to think of anything I didn't like about it. Is there anything that you got that kind of was like, nah?
Um,
I mean,
hmm,
even the music is good. I love the
music's good.
opening.
Yeah,
Um,
not really. And we'll talk about stuff more in detail, obviously, in spoilers. But I'm trying to think if there's anything like non-spoilery. Um, I think the second episode feels like it felt a little bit more than the first one. The first one really kept moving nicely. The second one felt like, well, it still kept moving nicely. It was more setup.
yeah,
But both these first two episodes are very much that, but it's fun setup. So if you're going into it going like, okay, I'm expecting like the big hit of, oh, this is where the whole plot for the series is going to go, you're not going to get that.
yeah. I would recommend if you're familiar enough with Spider-Man and Marvel stuff like that, is in episode two. Yep, it's a little bit just plateaus and more of a setup, but
Hmm.
look for the Easter eggs. Honestly,
Oh
look
yeah,
for. I mean, that's fun in itself. So,
yes, and it is very good with that.
oh my
So
gosh, yeah.
let's move into spoilers. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. You have been warned. Spoilers.
All right.
So we're going to be talking anything that we know about any future episodes. We're going to try and keep out at this point, but honestly, I don't know anything.
I don't really know anything either, actually.
Mhm.
I just know that it's supposedly going to get better. Like,
Ramp up in intensity. I'm just,
yeah,
yeah.
yep. Um,
So,
I already talked about like I had Easter eggs written down. I already talked about
mhm.
that. Lots of nods to things, lots of like early comic book stuff.
Early comic
Um,
book stuff, but also MCU stuff
yeah,
too.
right. The VCR that he picks up on the way, that was actually in episode two,
Yep,
I think,
episode.
right?
Yep. So we're talking episode one and two.
Yep.
And yeah, but not just the VCR. The whole walking into the apartment as
Mhm,
he unlocks the door, the music that he is listening to, and then him not realizing there's someone sitting on the couch with Aunt May. All of that mirrors the MCU. It's
right.
just like shot for shot almost.
Yeah,
And it's just that it's Norman Osborn sitting on the couch, not Iron Man, who also does exist in this world,
right. But Doctor Strange does not.
or is at least not known.
Right. Not, yeah. I would probably lean towards he doesn't exist
Mhm.
just because I think that he'd be a big enough name. Oh my God. Sorry if you can hear yelling in the background. If you can't, good. Um, totally lost track of what I was saying. So I'm
TB.
thinking, yeah, who else is maybe we could talk about some characters then. Because
Hmm.
we've hit on some, I think, in the last episode, just based on the IMDb
Yeah,
cast list, right?
right. But I think it's also like it's fun to call out. They reference Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, yep.
We see a picture of Norman Osborn with
Cap.
Captain America.
Yep.
And there's another picture that in the break room, not the New Rock Stars like breakdown of the episode that Jessica Clemens did, but in the break room Q&A that they did, that she was like, I think it's T'Chaka with Norman Osborn.
Oh,
So in another picture that you can just barely see. But because it's not clear enough, they didn't want to make an assumption. Um, on
but
Screen Crush, they made the assumption that it was Nelson Mandela potentially, but I think that T'Chaka makes a whole lot more sense.
well, especially with the character you get in episode two, right? You
Yes.
get oh, I don't remember what she's from Wakanda. That's all I remember. I don't remember what name and what her power ends up to be. But yeah. Um who else did they
So I'll let me find it here. It is Asha,
Asha, okay.
who's an intern at Oscorp,
Hmm.
where Peter gets his internship, like we mentioned. But Asha, then Jean Falcott, or something like that.
Foucault, I think Jane
Foucault,
Foucault,
yeah, Foucault, and well,
Amadeus.
Amadeus Cho, Bentley Whitman,
Bentley Whitman is the wizard.
correct, who's more of a Fantastic Four villain, but voiced by Paul F. Tompkins. And then Carla Connor, who's this Doc Connor in this world.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's not counting the high school students that he goes to school with Pearl Penguin, is it? Yeah. Pearl Penguin, Nico Minoru, and Lonnie Lincoln.
You know, I didn't realize at first that Pearl was Wave,
Yes.
right? I totally forgot about that as I just saw her as this love interest that Peter
Hmm.
was kind of obsessed with, which it ends up to be his babysitter from when he was young, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny how Nico is kind of it's kind of an ongoing joke for a while, or not an ongoing joke, but she definitely ribs him on it
Oh
quite
yeah.
quite well, which is I really appreciated that just riding him on that fact
Hmm.
of her being his babysitter. So
Yeah. Like having a crush on your babysitter. They're
yeah,
not that much difference in age.
yeah,
It was Pearl was 14 while Peter was 11 and a half.
yeah. It's a good
Yes.
ribbing. It's good.
Yes. So
Um,
that
yeah.
actually does lead into one of the questions that I want to ask. We just went through a whole bunch of characters, and I wanted to give like a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a thumb sideways on whether or not these characters will get powers or show their powers in this season.
Okay. Um, I'll tell you
So,
my thumbs up or thumbs down because I had to turn my
yes.
video off because my internet
Well, th
is
this is
terrible
also a
today.
podcast. So,
No, well, they can just be in guessing. They can guess.
okay.
It makes it more fun. It makes it more fun for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I will say what I think.
All right. Does Lonnie Lincoln get his powers and become Tombstone?
Oh God, I'm trying to remember. Did we see any of that in? I think we did see him get some powers in the trailer. I thought so. So sadly, well, I don't know. My hope for Lonnie Lincoln, by the way, is really that he stays who he is
Good.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this character. I like what they're doing with this character,
Hmm.
but I can see it as a really good setup for a villain.
Yes. Yep.
Um, so that's going to be a thumbs up for me. I think he will get it, but it'll be later on.
Yeah. Yeah. This feels like episode 8,
Hmm.
Tangled Web. I agree. I think that's a thumbs up. Pearl Penguin. Does she get her powers or not? Or do we see her powers or not? I shouldn't say does she get them because it's possible
There's,
that they already have them and Peter doesn't know.
yeah. That's a maybe thumb. Thumb sideways, everybody. Maybe thumb. It's a maybe
Yeah.
thumb.
I'm gonna go thumbs up on that one.
I could see
Just
them
be
waiting.
mhm. I I could too, but I think they're gonna give some of his counterparts, like high school counterparts, powers, and I'm leaning towards more of them being on the school side than on the Oscorp side.
Okay. It feels like, I might ruin your game this way, but it
Mhm.
feels like everybody's going to probably be shown to have some ability, that whatever their ability is, but it's like to what degree that they'll have it. Maybe it's like it's hinted at or,
Mhm.
but I just can't imagine that they would put these people in there so specifically and not have them
I mean, I could see
unless
it. It's
season
a
two is happening, right? But
season
at the
2
time,
and season 3.
but was that known at the time? Like, was that known when this was written? So, like,
Yeah, but
I'm
could
taking the
they
fun
have
out of the game. I'm sorry. This is really like sucking the wind out of the game that we're playing.
No, well, I'm actually going to push back a little bit on it and say that I think there's also a decent chance they were just like, okay, there are no plans for Wave, there are no plans for Nika Minoru, there's no plans for Tombstone anytime in the future, no immediate plans for Asha or Jean Falco or Carla Connors. So let's toss in names that people recognize as Easter eggs, but we don't. If we get one season and we don't pay them off, it's not a big deal. Like these are just Easter eggs. I think there's
Okay.
also a realistic chance that that was the mindset for writing too. And so for that reason, some of the characters may not get powers ever or until season 2 or 3.
Yeah. Okay.
So Nico Minoru,
Oh, um, I will say, oh man, Maybe. I'm gonna go with maybe. I
I
feel
go
like if
thumb
it,
sideways.
thumb sideways, it feels like maybe that would be a season two thing for me. Um, just because I think that her powers are pretty interesting.
Hmm.
A lot to them, quite powerful. So, and it takes a little bit of the focus off
Yeah.
Peter,
Mhm. I
being that they're
think,
so close in friendship, I guess. So,
yeah, I think she could get her powers end of season one. It once they knew that they had a season two or something like that, this would be the type of scene that you would add at the very last to like set up, kind of like X-Men 97 had their apocalypse set up. Now Nico starts to realize she has powers and is freaking out about it, and she doesn't know that Peter is Spider-Man. So he's having to figure out, like, he knows she has powers, but she doesn't know he has powers. Does he feel comfortable telling her? Sort of
yeah.
thing. How about Amadeus Cho?
Um, Thinking,
I can tell. I can smell
smell
the
the noodle cooking.
yeah, all the way from a couple towns over.
Yeah. Uh, I kind of feel like this is an unnecessary one, or I guess depends if they're gonna put like some sort of team together right away, if that's necessary or not for this season, or if it's these
He's
characters are just like set up, or not
mhm,
set up. Are these just their,
references.
yeah, for
Yeah.
now?
hmm I'm gonna go thumbs down on this. Let's do Asha and Jean Falco as well right now.
Yeah.
Thumbs up or thumbs down, sideways. I'm gonna give all three of them thumbs down right now.
I'm I think I'm gonna say thumbs down for Cho. Fuku, probably thumbs down. And then I can maybe see Asha maybe them wanting to do like at least hint at one of them.
Hmm.
And then who am I missing?
It's those three and Peter who are the
There's three.
interns.
Peter's the
Hmm.
fourth, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think, and I'm trying to Asha's, yeah, yeah, I'll
She
say
like
that. So
manipulates light
yeah.
powers and something like it. The only way I could see them doing something with that is if all of them have powers, and that's why Norman recruited them in the first
Oh
place.
yeah.
If like obviously Norman now knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man,
The
and
lamest. What a dumb move.
what an exactly high schooler move. And Peter, I did you watch my video?
No, not for this
Okay.
one.
Okay. So I give an example that I think is very true. And actually, I know it's fairly true in real life with very smart people as well. Not all of them, but some of them. Intelligence doesn't mean that you're wise. Peter is very intelligent, but he's not going to stop to think, like, oh, is there a camera on me? It's just like, am I out of view of humans? The example I give in the video is this is very D&D, Dungeons and Dragons esque in how in D&D you have two different stats. You have intelligence, which is like how smart you are, how much book learning you have. And then you have wisdom, which is like how aware of your surroundings you are, how streetwise you are. And those are two separate stats. And from what I've seen in real life, those are two separate stats with people.
Yeah.
And so Peter's very intelligent, doesn't make him wise.
I
And in
do like
fact,
what you
he's
go
very
ahead. Yeah.
not wise right now.
Right. And I think you kind of put the nail on the I you pinpointed it is what I was trying to say. Just by using the phrase he's a high schooler. Like
Yep.
it's a very high school thing to do. Like I have, a kid who just, is in his teens now and one that's already left his teens. So I know kind of what happens in that time period. And it's just a lot of not thinking, right?
Hmm.
So it does, that can make sense. I was gonna say that could be my one thing. I was kind of like, well, that's kind of dumb about the show, but
Hmm.
it totally makes sense, really, when you think about it. So when you
Hmm.
think when you try and put a cartoon into real life scenario, it really makes sense.
Yeah.
As ridiculous as that sounds.
Yeah. So we have three more characters in the Will They Get Powers?
Okay.
Bentley Whitman, powers or no?
Yeah, he's kind of a jackass, so I feel like I feel like he will. He'll show up.
Yeah. I'm gonna go sideways on that one. I don't feel like I have a good read on it, but he is the type of character who, if he doesn't show up this season and Paul F. Tompkins wants to continue doing the character, he will be a villain for a future season.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Carla Connors.
Thumbs down. I think that will
Yeah.
wait.
Yep. I'll go with thumbs down. And finally, Norman Osborn.
I think there's gonna be a big old bait and switch at the end of this. He's
Okay.
lured these kids in to work with them, and really he's just, as even Aunt May has said, or not Aunt May, but even Nico Minoru has said,
He's a bad guy.
yeah, plutonium and something in his basement, she says, I think.
Yeah.
So I think he's got something up his sleeve, but we're not gonna see that. It's gonna be that what I'm trying to think of what movie that was kind of like that. I mean,
There's quite a
Captain.
number,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say there's quite a few. Like Captain Marvel had what's his face?
um, Jude Law's
Yep,
character, why can't I think of it? Um, wow. Yeah, no,
yep.
I can't. Not coming to
Okay.
me. It'll come to me in a few minutes, I'm sure.
There are many of those kind of characters though, right? That they just play coy for a long time and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, all right, you had different motivations this whole time. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's I. So thumbs up for him.
uh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna show up in 8 or 9,
Hmm.
episode 8 or 9.
Yeah. Yeah. Though he might. I'm actually going to thumb sideways on this one. They might set him up as a bad guy, but not give him Green Goblin powers this season.
Oh yeah. I was thinking more he's not so much the Green Goblin style
Yeah.
evil. He's just what he's trying to do.
Yeah. The question was around powers more so than
Oh, that's
other
fair.
things. So,
Yeah. So then thumbs down for me.
okay.
I don't think he's gonna have powers.
All right. So that was one of the things I had to note. What else do you want to talk about with these first two episodes?
Um, we kind of already talked about Lonnie Lincoln. I
Mhm.
really dug what they're doing with that character.
And it's such a like something goes wrong with his family, and it pushes him to feel like he has to become a villain.
Yeah. And at some point in time, I'm guessing him and Peter are gonna split hairs on something.
Hmm.
Even though they seem to be very much into the same things, two peas in a pod kind of thing.
Hmm.
But maybe Spider-Man does something, right?
Spider-Man busts his brother.
Oh,
Like his
yep,
brother does something petty. And we've already seen that Spider-Man is going to ask somebody to forgive a villain. And I think that will be the twist on it is that Lonnie Lincoln's younger brother will get nabbed for something by Spider-Man, some petty crime. And Spider-Man will take the younger brother to the person like returning whatever was stolen and say this was somebody who just made a bad mistake or like who made a mistake, did something they shouldn't. Can you kind of forgive them and let them go? Kind of like with the pizza shop owner and the woman who had lost her job. But instead of having the pizza shop owner's reaction of, you know what, I trust you, Spider-Man, I'll let it go, they're going to be like, no, we're going to throw the book at him. We don't want this type of person on our streets.
hmm,
And
right.
that's going to throw Lonnie into a difficult situation.
Yeah. Um, I'm looking forward to how that rolls out. I'm trying to think
Hmm.
what else in this. I mean, aside from it was a lot of story set up. I don't know, like they were fun episodes, but nothing crazy really happens in them unless you're just finding some of the Easter eggs and stuff like that. And then it's, oh, that's cool. Oh, wow, that's a really deep reference. Otherwise, not a super huge cliffhanger besides Osborne going, "Hey, I know who you are."
Yep.
Um,
Which I liked.
yeah. What about
I
Aunt
like,
May? What are your thoughts on what's going to be going on with her?
does she die?
I mean, Ben obviously was somebody, right? So that's kind
Hmm.
of done. They've it's not going to be the Aunt May like Tom Holland kind of version that dies. Um,
Yeah. D- has Peter had the with great power comes great responsibility conversation? I guess.
right.
We don't know when Uncle, or was the implication was or what they said was, timeline wise, Uncle Ben had died prior to Peter becoming Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So there still could be the MCU Aunt May type thing
Yeah, I guess.
in a different way. Obviously, we're not going to bring in multiple Spider-Man, I don't think.
Yeah, it's gonna have to get pretty dark then, I would think. Like it's not
Hmm
he's not gonna have that anchor, not anchor being, I should probably choose my words carefully. Um, that person to rely on, that
hmm
grounded person that he needs in his life.
hmm
So I feel like she'll probably stick around. I don't think anything's gonna happen with her
Yeah,
necessarily.
not this season, I don't think.
Definitely not
Me,
this season. I don't think
yeah.
they would maybe do something next season or the third
hmm
season.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Um,
There's, I guess, some of the villains in the show were some callbacks, right? I
hmm
think nothing crazy, but
hmm
fun ones.
hmm
Um,
Doctor Strange is supposed to show up again. The Venom symbiote is supposed to show up again.
yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio did not show up, as I thought that it was possible because of the IMDb
Hmm
cast, but his was not labeled as first episode. It was more of an unknown. What'd you think of the Venom character that Strange was chasing? What two? It looked like it was a combination of Venom and like a spider or ant or something. It was kind of like I thought it was kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
it looked like the Venom symbiote had gotten a hold of a potentially an alternate universe Peter Parker where it's more man spider than Spider-Man.
Yeah. It was kind of cool. I liked the Doctor Strange fight sequence for that. I thought it was interesting. I didn't know he could go invisible. I think, but he did use that. He used the time stone,
Hmm
which was kind of interesting. And he
Yes, yeah.
reversed. He had his
Well,
gloves on, just threw
mhm.
me off a little bit. I don't know. It was a kind of a cool opening scene, honestly. I thought that was
Yes.
pretty creative. So,
And it was a real good look for Strange too. Just very like
mhm.
classic comics
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
Do you
That
think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
is it that gonna say just say that fit really well with the art style of the
Yeah,
show.
for sure. Do you think the spider will show back up again? Because it
So
did
the
hitch a ride on a backpack, I believe,
hmm
right?
So and we have no idea whose backpack. So well, we know some people who it's not. We know it's not Nico's. We know it's not Peter's.
Gonna be like Harry Osborn?
Was Harry at the school? Is he that gifted a student?
I don't I don't know. I mean, I could see his dad paying his way in there, but
Hmm Uh,
uh I
when?
just feel like it's gonna end up in Oscorp's hands somehow. That's
Yeah.
where I feel like it would show up. Otherwise, is it gonna bite somebody else?
Gwen Stacy?
Maybe.
Like, was that her backpack that it hitched a ride on?
Yeah.
And she'll get bit later.
It'd be cool if that showed up in like season two or three. Like
Hmm
they call back, that into episode one like that.
Yep. Yeah, that could definitely be very interesting to see where they go with that
Yeah.
as well. Or is it just a complete red herring? But I don't think it would be.
Usually they don't. Well, it's kind of an evil one, really, if they
Hmm
did. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna show back up. They'll do something with it. It's
hmm It's this is kind of why like I think Liney is going to turn into the villain Tombstone at some point in time in season one because they spent so much time with that character and kind of his home life and whatnot.
right.
Just with that one scene about like how bad the area is that he's in. I
hmm
can't imagine that that's not foreshadowing, that's not Chekhov's gun.
Right. Yeah, it 100% to me is kind of a setup, I would say.
Hmm
Um, it's hard not to put that kind of focus in that character. Especially this early on and not have it pay off to be something else later. So, yeah, sadly to say, it's probably gonna be something where he is gonna be the bad guy. And I wonder if it's gonna be that bad guy that's like kind of the focal as well. Like it's
hmm
just because him and Peter have such a connection, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and Lonnie Lincoln's the absorbing man, is that right? He can
Hmm.
absorb.
Um,
I thought
what are
that's on a
Tombstone's
different.
power? Well,
No, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Tombstone power set. I mean, there is the absorbing man. So,
Yeah, it's. Possesses sufficient strength, enabling him to lift about 6 tons. Kind of fandom, Marvel fandom.
Mhm.
Superhuman reflexes.
Stamina, durability.
It's kind of boring. Expert hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
Hand-to-hand combat for a high school quarterback. Um,
Yeah. I wonder if he's gonna I mean, because he's exposed to a chemical which gives him his abilities.
Oscorp
Uh,
chemical, I'm assuming,
yeah.
of some kind. Um, yeah,
So, I mean, that's
I don't know. Is what it is. I
mhm.
think that we'll obviously see more of him, and we'll see him kind of turn and maybe turn back even. Maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Maybe turn back. I do think that's where like the hero or menace episode could kind of focus in on kind of what can Spider-Man save Lonnie?
Mhm. I
Yeah,
hope it's
but
not that straightforward and dry.
yeah,
You
I don't
know,
think. Well, I think it will be. I don't think it will be that straightforward and dry as like, oh, can Spider-Man save him or not? And he's either going to be saved or not. But it's Peter's going to have to make a tough decision or two in there around more than just can he save Lonnie?
hmm. Oh, right. Yeah, there'll be a lot more that happens, I
Mhm.
think, but it feels like it's going to be an important part to Peter
Yes.
to protect his friend, to be there for his friend, kind of like a Harry Osborn was in the Spider-Man movies.
Hmm.
So, um, otherwise, that's kind of all I got. Like, not a ton to really dig into unless you're talking Easter eggs, but it's too many to count, and
Hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
sufficient enough in some of those
And
areas. So.
let's be fair, Easter eggs work better in a visual medium.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
That
As do thumbs
said,
up, thumbs down, and
yeah,
some thumb sideways.
yeah. But with that said, I do think any thoughts just looking ahead to the next three episodes, Secret Identity Crisis. Obviously, this is going to be Peter dealing with the fact that Norman knows. Hitting the big time. I'm assuming that's when Peter is going to reach some agreement with Norman, get his white suit.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
then the Unicorn Unleashed is going to be a villain of the week sort of thing, some sort.
Yeah.
Or is there a chance that uh, the lady who stole from the pizza shop will turn into that villain? Just
Oh,
popped into my head.
maybe it did seem like it was. I couldn't tell if they were just really trying to play her character as remorseful, or if they wanted you to get a good look at her and a read on her for something future.
Yeah. Well, also, this is a character without a job. Could Osborn recruit her for an experiment or something like that
Yeah.
and turn her into a villain?
Yeah.
I think that's fairly likely. Like this character that we've seen, and we're like, oh, okay, like she's remorseful, she's down on her luck. The next time we'll see her, Peter may be like surprised, be like, oh, cool, you got a job here at Oscorp, or it's like, and she's gonna be like, yeah, oh, yeah, he's paying me just for a little bit, just to do something, and it turns out it's an experiment for Osborn to try and create. Um, Super powered people to do his dirty work.
Right. Yeah, that does make sense. It adds up pretty nicely. I like that idea. I like, and honestly, like villains who
The,
you feel
mhm,
bad for and you understand their story and you understand why they do it.
like
Those
Sandman.
like Sandman, it's a perfect example. Like it's just you, if that villain can pull at your heartstrings a little bit, I
Yes.
think you find audiences will find the show, the characters, just things in a better light. They'll see it
Hmm.
as a better show. So gives
Yep.
depth.
Yes. 100% agree.
We're gonna see
So,
if Petter's right, and well, in next week, this week.
yeah, this week. Yes. So those are our thoughts on it. I've shared the the video on YouTube, gathered back a few thoughts on it. I will say this before people get up in arms. Um, Either way, I'm going to remove comments that are negative and apt to create a flame war, trolls, all that jazz. Because we want to be a community here for 10 Minute Marvel where people can come to really enjoy and engage with Marvel stuff. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with our thoughts. It just means if you're going to go very negative on something, it can't be the clickbaity, um, see if we can get some nerds upset or get people shouting down another group of people.
Right.
If you're not going to engage in
Respectful
com
disagreements
yeah,
or
and
agreements.
yeah, and conversations about it, I'm going to remove those comments. Uh, this has nothing to do with any political side of anything. This is simply how we want to develop our community. Um, that said, I do think there were a few comments on stuff. The one that I did remove because I was like, this is not a conversation starter that I did just want to mention here because I do think it's it was an interesting thing that I can see why it might have caught some people off guard with Spider-Man's costume and how absolutely janky it looked. This is also like we were talking about with him changing into it in the hallway or in the stairwell, not realizing there are security cameras. This is a costume that a high schooler made in 2 months. It's pretty good.
It's comic. There's some comic relevance to it, right? Some that's in some of the comics he does start out this way. Is that
He basically always starts out with a much more half-baked costume.
right?
Whether it,
Like the pressurized pressure canister, like the CO2
Mhm.
canister, whatever that is. I think I feel like that's was brought up in some comic
It's
version.
very, yeah,
And it's fine. Like, and honestly, I didn't know that unless I'm making it up right now, but I swore that was the thing. So it's, no shade on the person that thought that was janky. And,
Mhm.
but, yeah, it's right. There's some differences there. Like,
Yes,
it's, but at the same time, the story will progress. So I
yep.
wouldn't, uh,
We know that there are more suits coming.
yeah. So, but if you didn't like it, yeah, that's cool. Like, there's some Spider-Man
Mhm.
suits that I think are just lame. But
Yes, yep.
so,
But it's also a suit. If that's the main complaint you have on it, that's not that's not a good enough reason to not watch.
oh, fair.
I'll
And
just
I guess I didn't read the comment. I didn't see it.
Mhm.
So if you're not watching because of that, yeah, I don't
that's
know, kind of lame. But
that's
it,
probably not why you're not watching.
yeah,
And I appreciate the fact that you didn't dive into other stuff. There was also another comment of like, well, this isn't what Spider-Man's like, and I've read the comics, and like, this is what Spider-Man's like, and I've read the comics. Maybe you've just forgotten.
or maybe you guys have read different comics.
That's very possible as well. But having recently read through the first omnibus of Spider-Man Ultimates, which obviously, well, the Ultimates universe, uh, everybody's a bit more of an a-hole, to put it nicely. That was kind of the whole point of
Just
Ultimates universe.
edginess and
Yeah, edgier.
yeah.
And it's like, oh, no, this is very much the awkward teen oh uh, as well. And I didn't really want to get into it that much. We also did have a comment from somebody who was just like, you know what, this is pretty cool, but I need to see more, which is also a fair and valid criticism. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna take away from anybody, and I left that one sitting there. So if you want to have conversations around like, yeah, I agree with that. What more do you want to see? What kind of left you wanting? I think that those are wonderful conversations to have.
Hmm.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to kind of get out in front of it because I know that there's been a lot of divisive commenting on a lot of other larger uh, YouTube channels and Facebook pages posts. So if anybody comes into ours wondering why ours is maybe different on it, it's just a very intentional thing to build a community that is going to be around dialogue and listening and disagreeing, but in good and healthy ways.
Open-mindedness. Yeah.
hmm So,
Well, So we should be watching for Petter's video on Tuesday coming up,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
After the F4 release,
Yep.
which we're hoping is a for sure thing. It's looking
Mhm.
like it's gonna be.
Yeah, and then
So,
I'll do another reaction video, impressions video for the next 3 episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, though I would suspect I'm not going to get that out until Thursday.
and we will also probably not get this podcast. It might be a day late
Yeah,
next week.
that's our plan is on Monday, just because Super Bowl on Sunday.
Yep. So we
And
like the Super Bowl and
mhm,
we're gonna watch it. So
yes, well, and
there's
I mean,
lots
there
of
was there was a rumor that we were going to get the Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts trailers during the Super Bowl, so we might be getting the Thunderbolts trailer during the Super Bowl, which means if it's at halftime or if it's later in the Super Bowl, then yeah, we wouldn't have had time really to sit down with it anyways.
yeah.
So we
Gives
want
us
to
time
make
to digest it.
Mhm. Yes, we want to make sure we give you the best content that we can. But with that, thank you so much for listening. Let us know your thoughts on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the first 2 episodes. You can do that over on Facebook. Leave a comment there. Greg gave other spots where you can find us as well on social media. And if you enjoy this content, please uh, help support us. And there's a few ways. Again, Greg gave a few ways at the beginning. But also a Patreon, patreon.com/nerdologists. The funds go to help improve the quality of this podcast, as well as the Molds and Meeples YouTube channel, nerdologist.com website, and the 10-Minute Marvel YouTube channel. But with that, we'll see you next time.
Peace, mon ami.